He's only responded once, and I think it was his secretary.
Now, Dylan, I would have to say, in my opinion, don't tell the other guys this, you know what I'm saying, but you're probably the most talented musically of the three. I read on Wikipedia that you went to Berklee School of Music for a time.
Yeah.
Tell us about that experience.
I mean, I don't like to admit that, obviously, in front of the other guys, but I mean, Berklee was good for about a month. There was just nothing they could teach me more. I mean, people were coming to me for advice about drumming, and it just got obnoxious. I just had to tell people what I was doing, why it was so great. So, I mean, I just dropped out. I was just sick of it. I needed to just vent. I needed to get away from all that.
Hey, dude. What was that, man?
I was just practicing the song we're playing, you know, for the show.
Now, the one song written for said album was going to be I Lack the Capacity, then in parentheses, to erase you from my life.
Yes.
Now, was that written by you? Was that written by Gerard? Or
I wrote it.
You wrote it?
Yeah.
It was all completely you?
Well, I read Gerard's letter, and actually he had written a song that was pretty good, but I wrote a better one.
Well, our music is about the message more than the
More-
skills per se.
It's not about the skills, it's about the message.
No, I think our message just reaches out to everybody and touches them and caresses them. And it says, this is the message of the youth of today, and tomorrow, and yesterday.
And that was ultimately the one that was going to go into the recording process. So it was my song, it was my idea, my vision. Essentially, I drew on it, although Gerard didn't really have that much input into the sound of the song, his presence as the receiver of that letter was really sort of important.
So, man, what do you think about My Bloody Eulogy?
Dude, those guys totally kick ass.
I know, man. Have you heard their song yet? I Lack the Capacity?
I like the what?
Dude, My Bloody Eulogy, I Lack the Capacity.
Oh, I thought you meant My Chemical Romance. Those guys totally kick ass.
Gerard, how long have you been playing bass for?
Well, about a week now, but I'm a real fast learner. Real fast. We got a little bit of this happening. Yeah, Travis said I only have to learn one string for a good emo song. So it's a lot harder than it looks on the Panic at the Disco YouTube site. Back in high school, I liked a song that just went like this. I think that's called Driving It Home. Then back to the sweet spot. You don't know where I'm going with this, do you? No idea where I'm going. I could go here. I could go here.
Was it just like, you're better than everyone else, or...
I mean, they're still going through the learning process and everything. I feel like I just kind of bypassed that. I mean...
And so then you ended up here.
Yes, I ended up here. They just needed a drummer, and this seemed like a really good place to just vent. I really simplified what I did, and I felt like that really got back to the roots of really where I felt drumming was important, what I found important in drumming. I mean, because, yeah, there's all the technical stuff, and I could hold my own in that sort of genre, but I don't know, I just didn't think, like, what's the point, really? I just felt like this expressed myself much better.
They totally express my inner sadness.
So tell me a little bit about the history of Travis Winters. Where'd you come from? What's home life like?
grew up in New Jersey, in the darkest, blackest shithole of the universe, I think is what you could call it. My parents, you know, they never really understood me. Neither did my grandparents, who actually lived next door and were a big part of my home life. They didn't understand me either.
What was it like growing up in the Winters household in New Jersey?
Well, we lived in this town called Cherry Hill, real suburban, real upper class, just like a total shithole. And my dad was a lawyer, my mom was a doctor, and, you know, a lot of wealth in the family, which, you know, I would consider a negative. And, like, one highlight of my childhood was when I first got my driver's license, and I wanted to get a black van because, you know, I feel that everything in your life should be an expression of who you are, and I thought that the black van would be good. But, you know, my parents decided to buy me a BMW instead. You know, I guess they thought I'd like that.
Come on.
I know, right? Fucking assholes, dude. No, honestly, I'd rather not talk about my parents. I don't consider them part of my life anymore, and oh,
it's kind of
let's just
a
move
sore
on.
subject.
Let's move on.
My Bloody Eulogy. A mí me encanta esa banda. Es lo mejor que he visto. Ellos son tan emocionantes. Es como que me entra. Es como que no puedo creerlo. Yo quiero taco.
Don't you think maybe if the band was going to be serious, they might want to get someone with a little more bass experience? Or does Travis have enough faith in you that he can mold you? You know.
Well, I'm pretty malleable. Pretty malleable. I mean, when Travis found me, I was, you know, big into the techno scene. So I think he's really straightened me out here. You know, I'm not quite as pathetic as I used to be.
The feminine features of My Bloody Eulogy are really what attract me to them.
Yeah, if I was into men, that's the kind of man I would want.
It's like, I consider myself, you know, I'm the expert level. You know, maybe some other people wouldn't, but I'm very proud of what I've accomplished.
Travis is now going to show us a power chord.
Well, it's actually a 5 chord, and it's you know, it's a little more complicated than that. Basically, you have your root note, and then you have your 5th. No, wait, hold on, wait. No, wait. There's the 5th, okay, and then there's another root note on top of it, so it makes it a little more complicated. So if you play them all together, you have what's known as a power chord, or a 5 chord. And that took me, you know, like, that's no joke. It might look easy, but, like, you know, you play for 2-3 years, you'll find out, like, how hard that is to do. And
It's not a joke at all.
well, no, you realize, like, the talent that guys like, you know, Billy Joe Armstrong and Sid Vicious and all those guys, you know, like, they have incredible talent. Oh, wait, hold on, wait, let me try it again. Ready? If you play saxophone, you know, like, playing, you know, more than one note at a time is, like, you know, almost impossible. So, you know, playing guitar obviously is, like, way harder. So,
How would you define your guitar playing?
well, you know, I have a lot of influences. You know, I've been playing for a long time. You know, obviously the Clash and the Sex Pistols were, you know, some of the early pioneers of my particular niche of guitar playing. But, you know, a lot of my influences aren't musical, to be honest. You know, I consider the Dalai Lama to be a big, you know, a big inspiration to me. You know, just his spirituality. I mean, I don't really know that much about him, to be honest, but just the fact that he's a spiritual leader, you know, I kind of see myself in that same realm of influence. So, you know, guys like that, real spiritual leaders. Gandhi, I'd put Gandhi way up there. Not so much Jesus. He's from, like, a sort of different style of thought than I would consider myself from. But actually, yeah, we'll throw Jesus in there. My Chemical Romance, like, I don't think you understand the influence that they've had in the modern music scene, though.
Yeah, they're okay, but I mean, Green Day definitely has influence.
But Green Day are mad old school, dude. Look at, like, Fall Out
That's why
Boy.
they're good,
like,
though, because they're old school. Fall Out Boy's new, just...
But Fall Out Boy has taken the influence that Green Day has put out there, and they're expanding upon the musical ideas of
I
Green
think
Day.
they went backwards. from Green Day. Green Day definitely.
I'm Fall Out Boy went backwards.
Yes.
Okay. What about AFI though?
No, forget them too.